As we get closer to Election Day, tensions have been rising between Democrats and Republicans, but there are ways to remain civil if you live in a household of opposing viewpoints.
It's no secret we're living in a very divisive time right now. It seems to be Democrats versus Republicans or conservatives versus liberals. But whether it's a life partner or family member, many of us are living with somebody with an opposing viewpoint. I searched far and wide to find couples and families in this situation to explain how they move past their differences. But due to a concern of backlash, they were all afraid to go on camera. With the exception of one gentleman. He says he's been a Democrat all his life and he's dating a Republican.
In recent years, Jim Ryan has gotten used to playing pool by himself. But of course, he'd rather not play alone. He says in his old age, he's really appreciated having someone else by his side.
I'm a widower, and it's nice to have a significant other that can help you out, and you can help them out.
2.5 years ago, he met a new partner, but it didn't take long to find out their political opinions were very different. He says he's been a lifelong Democrat and she's a Republican. In the game of pool, if he were solids, she'd be stripes.
She said, well, is that a deal breaker since we're in, opposite viewpoints? And I said, well, let me get back to you on that. And we've been dating ever since.
Even though their feelings for each other are mutual, Jim's partner did not want to be identified in this story. He says she told him there's too much tension between parties right now, but they have found a way to continue loving each other regardless of their political differences.
Politics, like religion, can be a game changer.
Ray Winfield has been a couples counselor for nearly 4 decades. He says he offers advice to couples who politically disagree.
It's a choice. People need to know it's a choice. You can end a relationship over a church and religion. You can end a relationship over politics, over Trump and Biden.
However, if you want to keep the peace between you and your significant other or another family member, Winfield says there's a simple solution.
Don't discuss it. Unless you can discuss it in a kind and respectful way where both people's opinions and both people's positions are respected.
Jim says that's something he often practices.
There are times where, I have to bite my lip, and usually I'm the one that bites my lip.
According to Winfield, if you and a loved one are struggling to get along in the midst of election season, you can work on skills to find peace between each other.
We need good communication skills. We need skills on how to be aware of our emotions, how to be aware of other people's emotions.
And if you really do want to discuss politics, he says you shouldn't react to another person's views in a hateful way.
Even if you don't like their candidate, even if you don't respect their candidate, even if you think their candidate is evil, you don't say that.
In his 70 years of life, Jim says he's had civil conversations with people of opposing viewpoints. He'd like to see the same happen at the Capitol and all over the country.
I have a lot of friends that are lifelong, the Republicans, and we get along just fine.
Above all else, Winfield says we need to focus on the good our loving relationships bring us. He says there is so much more to each of us than our political affiliation.
What I hope people to do in the next 2 weeks and after the election, regardless of the results, is that people can be kind and loving to each other and really appreciate the magic that they can have with a special friend.
I'm Elizabeth Ruiz reporting.